hug. So if you're a hugger also. But it's been a couple of rough years, and that you are still, I just want to say thank you that you're still here. Toughing it out with us. We've had losses where we had people leave the program, volunteers as well as staff. We've lost volunteers and staff that passed away, so that was always hard. And so I'm just grateful to be standing in front of you, to be a part of this program. Grateful to have volunteers as yourself. Grateful for the Children's Guardian Fund. They are an awesome nonprofit. And as Jeremy said, thank you to Svetlana and Kristen. They're two women who do phenomenal things. And I was talking to Svetlana the other day, and just that they recognize the needs of the children that we serve. They truly do have the needs at their heart for the children. So Children's Guardian Fund is a wonderful, wonderful nonprofit. We're blessed to have them here in our circuit. They're the best, and I'm not being biased. I think they're the best. So, and I do want to say that, we continue to see children come into the system, and you all continue to take on those assignments. And as much as you all continue to take on those assignments, they come in every day. I was telling Peter, one of the volunteers, that Kenneth, my admin, let me know this week alone in Manatee County, we sheltered 19 children. So as fast as we can get them assigned and get cases closed, the children continue to come into the system. So one thing that we do know is that our volunteers are some of our best recruiters. So, Peter, how many did you recruit out on your recruitment event just recently?
6,741.
So no, but Peter recently went and spoke at how many? How many did you say, Ben? Oh,
95.
95. Okay. So that figure. I can tell you, and we have a speakers bureau, and our volunteers that participate in that, they can tell you that when they go out to places and they speak, people really get to hear the stories from the volunteer perspective. And also, you have family, you have friends. So I'm just going to task everyone here with just tell somebody. Today when you leave, tell somebody about the Guardian Ad Litem program, give them our information, and we'll do the rest. So when they speak to you and hear your stories, that truly gives them, I believe, the courage and everything to move forward and want to become a part of this great program. But again, I'm just thanking you from the bottom of my heart. Could not do this without you. So that's all I have. So thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Cynthia Craig. I've been a Guardian Ad Litem since 2010. I was happy to see my mentor, Sandy Mullen, who tutored me back in the day. And I'm on the board of the Children's Guardian Fund. And my wonderful task today is to introduce Judge Gilbert Smith, Jr., who's the circuit judge of the 12th Judicial Circuit. He was elected in 2008 and took office January 6, 2009. At this time, he's assigned to the Juvenile Division, dealing entirely with dependency cases. He's a longtime resident of Manatee County. He graduated from Manatee High School, the State College of Florida, and the University of Florida. Then he decided to see the rest of the country and went to law school at the University of the Pacific in Sacramento, but decided to come home to practice. He's a past president of the Bradenton Kiwanis Club and a past president of the Manatee County Bar Association. And as a young attorney, he served as a Guardian Ad Litem. He's going to talk to us about his current assignment, his view of dependency court, the importance and impact the Guardian Ad Litem has on what is in the best interest of the children, and anything else he feels like talking about.
Well, it's good to see all of you. I recognize so many of you from Zoom. And it's great to see you in person. And in fact, I will invite you after the meeting to come up and say hello if I haven't met you yet, because it is great to see you in person and to realize that we are real. Sometimes I'm surprised what people look like after I meet them in person of what they look like on Zoom. I'm sure that's the same way with me when you see me. I'm honored to be here today to talk to you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm President Kiwanis this year, and we had the Guardian Fund here, and Jeremy was with us at Luncheon, and I had a good introduction to this program. But since I'm in the Dependency, and I'm in Division J, and all those 19 cases this week I think I got. Somebody told me that earlier. I'm doing shelters this week, so I'm sure they are mine. So I want to talk to you about your role and how much I appreciate it. From what I see, and based on my experience, which is, I'm going to go back in time a little bit in my life, you're making such a big difference. You're helping break cycles in children's lives. You're giving them a voice to me as a judge, and in many cases, you're saving their life. And you know that, and I know you know that. So I want to thank you very much. Now, there may be other people here, there may be foster parents here, caregivers here, attorneys for the department, attorneys for our Guardian Ad Litem program, or private attorneys that are involved with the parties in the case. And I want to thank all of you for the work you do. I'm so impressed with all the attorneys, all the caregivers, the Guardian Ad Litems, and everybody that appears in front of me for the most part. Now, all of you know, there are exceptions, and but for the most part, it's a great experience to have everybody representing me, representing the children and the parties in the cases that I hear. All of you may know the history of the Guardian Ad Litem program in Florida, but I'm just going to give you a little refresher course. You know, Florida's always been a leader in so many areas in law. And after we had a new constitution written in the early 1970s, there was a lot of activity in the legislature and through the court system to come up and look at concerns they see in cases or issues that occurred in cases. And one of those, of course, was children. And with the support of the leaders in this state, and in the pilot program in 1980 was put together to look at representation of children in cases called the Guardian Ad Litem program. And at that time, they had put it with the Office of the State Court Administrators, which was actually under the judiciary. And so for many years, that's how it occurred and was run. In 1989, I practiced with a large law firm, and I got transferred from Bradenton to Orlando, and I did bankruptcy work, and I was constantly in bankruptcy court fighting over money for people and resolving disputes. But the Orange County Bar Association encouraged lawyers like myself to get involved in some volunteering work, and that's always big with me in terms of volunteering. And the firm I was with, Holland & Knight, suggested that too. They really pushed you to do that. And so I signed up to be a Guardian Ad Litem. And in 1989, it was different than what you do, I think. Different in the sense that it wasn't structured, it was still evolving. And so I didn't know what I was doing. So I got training, and I got assigned a case. There were 2 children I was going to be working with and representing. And so juvenile court is a lot different than bankruptcy court. It's a big difference, and one difference is there's not a federal judge looking at you. The Orange County Courthouse was being remodeled at the time. It was being held in a hotel. But the juvenile court was a few miles away in a detention center. It looked a lot different. They had security. Just a few years, security started coming into courthouses. And so that's where I went to meet my children that I was going to be helping and representing. And when I went to the court, to that detention center, I saw a woman with 2 young children, maybe ages 7 and 8. I introduced myself, and she introduced both children to me as their guardian ad litem. And as I expected, they were shy and, like me, a little lost in this detention center and what was going to happen next. But I did get a chance to talk to them, and they did talk to me, and we didn't talk about anything all important, except I learned they were happy, they were safe, they wondered what was going to happen, and they loved their mom and dad. And so we went together with this representative, I think from the Department of Children and Families, with these 2 children into the courtroom. We sat down for our case to be called, and when our case was called, I went forward before the judge in the middle of this courtroom with these 2 children by my side, and to my left, a lawyer came out. You can always tell what a lawyer looks like. Right, Cynthia? You can always tell. With a young man in handcuffs and shackles. To my right, a lawyer came out a good distance away from us with a young woman in handcuffs and shackles. So the judge, and I had been in juvenile court, and the judge let both lawyers argue, and at some point let the parents say something, and then he turned and looked at me. And he asked me for a report on the children. And so my conversation with the children turned into a report to the judge on how they were doing. And during that time, as I was talking to the judge with these 2 small children, I looked down and they were staring at me. And so I knew I was making a difference for them because I was talking for them. So that moment changed my life, really, in practicing law. It changed my life for a lot of reasons because of being an advocate for people, children who were helpless, who needed help from someone, to be an advocate. And that case, I had it for another few months. I appeared in court again without the children once. I talked to their caregiver and the children, maybe on the phone. And I was a volunteer, and I also worked for a large law firm, so I got transferred, unfortunately, back to Tampa, and then I left the firm and opened my own firm in Bradenton. And so I never was involved in a dependency case again from that time because I was working and being involved with my own firm and practice. I never had the opportunity to do that, even though I did work a little bit in the family division and had some opportunities to work with families and children. But then I got elected to become a judge, and I've been on the bench now 14 years. And on my 12th year, as I was in felonies, COVID hit, and we were in a pandemic on Zoom and felonies. Now that's really interesting because you have people, maybe 80 or 100 on Zoom with you, and a lot of them misbehave. In fact, somebody was in a hearing with me yesterday and asked one of the parties to put on a shirt. I didn't even notice. It was a man. It was the father. when I got transferred last year in 2021 into Dependency, I was on Zoom from the beginning. So that's why I'm so happy to see you in person and to get to know you, because I look forward to seeing you in person if you want to come, because I'm not changing things yet to deny you the right if you want to appear by Zoom if it's more convenient for your health or otherwise. So that's the way I'm proceeding. But I'm so glad that I had that experience, and I know that the system has changed. In fact, I was advocating for the children the same time I was giving them a report and acting like their attorney and their guardian ad litem at the same time. And I know that's changed so much, and the training you have is so intense now, and is so helpful for what you do. And you're making a difference in these children's lives. You really are. You're the voice. And so let me tell you what I do in court. I listen to everybody, but when the guardian ad litem speaks up, when my guardian ad litem attorney says, let me let you listen to the guardian ad litem, that may be the most important person I've heard at the hearing. That may be the most important voice I've heard. And I want you to know that, because of the experience I have, I appreciate that so much. I really do appreciate it. Because I get the information from the attorneys advocating their positions. And I will mention that the case management is so important for me too. And I listen to the case management, I listen to the guardian ad litem talk to me, and it helps me when I finally rule in cases. It really helps me, and those are what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about what's that guardian ad litem telling me. And sometimes I'm listening to how they tell me. Sometimes I'm trying to read what they're saying, not just what the words they're saying. I look forward to them in the courtroom because I'd like to see how they're saying it. And it's really important to me. So the voice of the guardian ad litem is so important, because then I can take that information, hear what I say from the attorneys, hear what I say from witnesses, and case management is to help me come to a decision I've got to make. And you know, it's so often, and I will tell you this, with shelter hearings, Judge Malucci, and I talk about this all the time, we wish there were some close calls on probable cause. There rarely are. It's a very sad occasion. It's something that judges have to determine probable cause in everything we do in the criminal, the juvenile, dependency, and what we're looking for. But what's sad is there's not rarely a question on shelter hearings where there's lack of probable cause. It's very sad. It is very sad. So, what I will tell you and what I will ask you is to keep doing what you're doing. Realize I'm really listening to you. And even if I'm looking down on Zoom, or maybe I disappear from the box on Zoom, I'm actually listening to you and really trying to digest what you're telling me about what's going on with the children and the family. It's hard for judges to make decisions without good information. And so getting good information comes from good people, good witnesses, and good reports. And that's what we're looking for. And I welcome the guardian ad litem to go beyond sometimes what they're reporting to give me their thoughts. If somebody's not objecting to me asking that, and often they don't object to what I'm asking. It has happened once or twice. But, so I would really request that you go beyond sometimes and tell me that. I also really want to take to heart what you've said, and that is have volunteers, and I will promote that, whether I'm my role at Braden Kiwanis or my role at the Bar Association or in the judiciary for that. My good friend Paul Sharp, I was surprised to see, was volunteering, appeared in front of me. He had shaved off his mustache. I didn't recognize him when he was there, but I appreciated him so much being a volunteer on that. Another guardian ad litem who's in Braden Kiwanis, Jack Powers, who is ill now and had a stroke, so he's not helping you, but volunteering at this time is doing better. He's getting better, and he's in Braden Kiwanis with me. And so, I consider your job as guardian ad litems sort of at the top of volunteering. Volunteering is really important to me in the community. I think it is for judges to do it as well as other people in life. And I really do appreciate everything that you do. I know the children do. And I want to thank you very much for inviting me here today. This is such a great group, so thank you very much and keep up the good work. Okay.
Speaking of appreciation, the Children's Guardian Fund would like to present Judge Smith with the Distinguished Speaker Award, which